Yo, 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 what is up, guys? It's your boy SKFC back with. Honestly, I feel like this is probably going to be the new format we do here. Um, the Manchester City game just finished. It's currently 9:30 a.m. where I'm at right now, or I guess probably more like closer to 10 actually, but it's whatever. We're going to make this a nice, short, and simple stream. We're just going to quickly talk about City. I'm not going to lie, I'm a bit disappointed in their performance today, mainly because I had very, very high hopes for, well, maybe not high hopes because I don't want them to win. I'm not a Manchester City fan, but I had high expectations for them. It's probably a more accurate way of stating what I'm going to state. And obviously, in this game, there was just a lot of weird things that went on. Um, I'm not going to have time to touch on everything that I thought was a bit weird, but we're just going to talk about the important things. Obviously, we can see here Tottenham won 2-0. Manchester City didn't really create too many opportunities. Um, they were significantly worse in the second half. Like you kind of tell, like they were completely out of the game. Um, Honestly, I'm looking at this lineup, and the first thing that I think we need to talk about is Nico Gonzalez. I thought today, bro, was complete garbaggio. He was basically non-existent. He his passing was fine, I guess, but I would say the thing that kind of I thought was disappointing was he didn't really find any like penetrative passes, and it was a bit unimaginative. And what I thought Tottenham did was really interesting was because the game was a bit more even uh, towards like the first, I want to say like 20-ish minutes, right? And basically during this piece of the game where City had more momentum, what Spurs were trying to do was they were trying to press City through the middle. And honestly, I can probably see. Let's see if I can find like a tactics board of what I'm trying to get up. But basically, they were trying to press City through the middle, and that was giving City the ability to kind of advance through their wide areas. Like honestly, I'd probably say their best players or their best performance, I guess, in the first half came specifically from Marmouche and Oscar Bob. They're probably the two guys trying to really create things and make things happen, even though I wouldn't say they did a particularly good job of that themselves. Then you kind of look at the fact that, like I said, Gonzalez was not doing much to aid them in that fact. But Cherky, I thought, was completely anonymous. He just seemed like, he didn't really, he wasn't there for the big occasion. Like it felt like he was avoiding really getting the ball. I can really only think of one really good opportunity that he created for Holland when Holland probably should have like scored that. I think it was like towards the end of the half. He had given a pretty good cross for Holland, and Holland wasn't able to direct it towards the goal. But outside of that, he didn't really do much in the pockets. He wasn't really able to carry the ball, and it felt like he was getting bullied a little bit too much, which I found a bit surprising, just given how stocky he is and the type of body type that he has. You would think he would be optimal for these type of physical cagey games. From a And then another thing I thought was a bit weird too was the fact that Pep won with this really, really weird high line. Like he was basically having like a back three of Stones, Diaz, and Gonzalez. Anytime City would try to go forward to try to attack Tottenham. And the reason why I found this a bit odd is because none of those players are really physically adept enough to be trying to marshal a high line like that, right? Like you're looking at the likes of Diaz, who's not particularly fast, Stones, who's injury prone, and then Nico Gonzalez is not a great athlete either. So you kind of look at all those things and you kind of question why Pep went with the approach that he did. Um, and Tottenham did a good job of utilizing their wingers to really drag the City players that were trying to defend for them out wide. And you can especially see that in that first goal where. So yeah, also yeah, let's see if we can let's pull up the let's see if we can pull this up. So you can see here, right, for the first goal. Let's see if we can get it. So here, Kudus wins a header, and you can see what I'm talking about. You have three players just basically being Pep's last line of defense. Kudus wins a header here, and unfortunately for Pep anyway, Diaz slips. He slips on route to trying to cover Richarlison, and then when Richarlison is able to get the ball, he is able to pretty much run with it, and now you essentially only have I think this is Rico Lewis back here to cover Brennan Johnson on the far side, and he obviously doesn't do a good enough job, and Ben Johnson ends up scoring. So, you're looking at, again, Richarlison's not a particularly fast player himself, but I think that just kind of speaks to the lack of athleticism in that back line to really be able to cover, making the odd mistake like that. So right, so the margin of error that they have is significantly less, and Tottenham did a good enough job to make them pay for it. So even outside of that, the other thing that I want to bring up as well was the fact that I thought that Tottenham's fullbacks were really good. They also played a good part in advancing the ball wide. I thought Paulinho was really good today as well, even outside of the goal that he scored. He did a really good job of really cleaning up the midfield and making sure that Tottenham were not gonna be comfortable trying to play. I'm sorry, not Tottenham. City weren't going to be comfortable trying to play through Tottenham. You can see here in the amount of tackles that he won, the interceptions, the defensive contributions, the recoveries. So the dude was everywhere. I'm just disrupting Manchester City's play. He was also clean with the ball, and obviously he got his goal as well. So he was incredibly vital to everything good that Spurs were trying to do defensively. So shout out to him from that standpoint. I thought Kudus was pretty quiet today, all things considered, but he still notched up at 3 dribbles. Again, like I said, his header was incredibly important for getting that first goal. And he really put in a shift defensively as well. So even though he wasn't particularly amazing today, he still contributed all around. Like you see here, 7 ground duels that he won. Getting the header for the goal, 2 tackles. So, he was really in the thick of it, as the kids like to say. And with the substitutions, to be fair, I actually thought the subs played better than the starters for Manchester City. When Rodri came on, and Foden and when Rodri, Doku, and Silva came on in particular, I thought those 3 looked to be a step up from what City had. I thought Reinders looked a bit lost in this game as well. I feel like when it comes to him and what he thrives in, I don't think these kind of chaotic games where he's not going to get a lot of time and space on the ball, nor is he going to have a lot of good passing options, are the kind of games that he thrives in. So I think, you look at the amount of touches that he got, only 47 touches is incredibly low, specifically for a midfielder in a Pep system. So I think that kind of tells you much about how City were struggling to play through the middle and really get influence in this game. Like if we compare that to his game against Wolves, even just outside of the GA, you're looking at 82 touches, so you're looking at almost twice as many touches. So I think that says a lot about how Manchester City need to be better in terms of being able to penetrate through the middle to allow themselves to open up more passing lanes, more passing options for them. And I think this is definitely going to be a worrying sign, because I definitely had them as big favorites, to win the Premier, to really be in that conversation. And if they're going to do that, they're going to have to play better than what they showed today. And I also want to give a big shout out to Spurs as well. I thought Spurs played really well. They were really disciplined defensively. They were physical. They didn't leave too many gaps for City to exploit. Manchester City didn't really, like, I'd say especially after like the first half an hour, Tottenham didn't really give City a lot of could see a lot of really good chances to Spurs. I mean to City. Like I said, outside of the cross that Cherky gave to Holland towards the end of the half, and one opportunity that Holland had played into Cherky actually earlier in the game, Tottenham really did a good job of marshaling City's attack and really disrupting them. So I think for Thomas Frankie, his tactics are already paying really good dividends for Tottenham. The only thing I will say is, guys, this guy is a freaking scam ass. This guy's a scam artist, man. I don't know how he gets away with this, bro. This dude is trash, bro. He is. And I don't care if he scored today. He's on the ball. He's just suboptimal. I think against more disciplined defenses, he's not going to be able to cut the mustard for them. But that's a future problem for them to worry about. So, yeah, overall, I thought today it was a good performance by Tottenham, worrying performance by City. I think they need to shore up their defense, which I don't know why they didn't really go out of their way to bring in another defender. I definitely think they need a right back. I know they were in for Livramento. If I was City, I would try to get that deal done as soon as possible before the end of the transfer window. Even though obviously Newcastle aren't going to be looking to sell, I don't think Rico Lewis is good enough defensively, or disciplined enough defensively, or has enough physicality for them. I thought throughout the game, I'd probably say City's best player was probably Oscar Bob. He had a lot of really good moments on the wing. He looked threatening, but unfortunately, none of his attacking teammates really wanted to show up for him today. So it's unfortunate. But yeah, that's going to be it for today. I'm going to try to do more of these like short lives. And I'm going to be going on to the next game. So thank you for joining the stream, and remember to have a good day.